In this video, I'm going to demonstrate some useful features of the map window. As an example of what you can do, I'm going to set myself the task of marking all of the birthplaces of the ancestors of Harold Jones on a map. And I'll do the same thing for Helen Cameron, but I'll use one type of marker for Harold's ancestors and a different type for Helen's, so that we can easily see if their ancestors' birthplaces overlapped at all. To access the map window, click on this button on the main toolbar. We don't want to mark all places, or even all places for Harold Jones or for all individuals, so I'll just pick the View Map Window option. Now we need to add a set of markers, and to do that we click on this Set Tasks button up here and then click Add Marker Set. I'm going to give this marker set a name and call it Harold's Ancestors Births. We want it to be an individuals and places marker set type, and I'll choose this marker. Now I can add Harold Jones to the set, but I don't want to just add him. I want to add him and all of his ancestors, and I can do that by clicking Add Relatives, this button down here, and choosing Ancestors. I'll leave that as all generations and click OK. So that's added Harold Jones and all of his ancestors. Now click OK down here, and that's marked all of the events associated with his ancestors on the map. The ancestors are all listed down the left-hand side, and notice that some of them have a little tick next to them and some of them don't. The ones that don't have a tick next to them, such as William Jones or Winifred Jones, these are people who do not have any places associated with them. But some people have several places associated with them. For example, if I expand Frances Boyle there, we can see that she has 5 places associated with her, 5 events in her life where the place has been specified. Now we said we only wanted to look at birthplaces and not all places. So what I could do is laboriously go through this list and untick everything except births to ensure that the markers only show birthplaces. But a quicker way of doing that is to click on the Fact Types button up here. I'll click the Uncheck All option and then click Birth, and you can see that now only birth events are ticked. If I click the View All Markers button, the map will zoom back to show all markers anywhere in the world, so that we can see that some of Harold's ancestors were born in the UK, but some of them were also born in America. There's one over there was born in Bombay. Someone down here was born in Dunedin in New Zealand. Okay, if we now go back to the focus window, we said we were going to add the ancestors of Helen Cameron too. Now I could do this perfectly easily by adding another marker set up here in the map window, but just to show the kinds of things you can do, I'm going to use a different technique. I'm going to use a ancestor diagram as a way of selecting Helen's ancestors. So I'll click on her box here in the focus window and then click on Ancestor Diagram. I'll click on the Fit Window button to zoom back, and I can select all of the boxes in this diagram by clicking on Diagram, Selection and Marks, and then select all boxes. Actually, a quick way of doing that is to press Control A, so you don't have to use the menu. So I've now selected all of Helen's ancestors, and if I now click on the Map Window button, I can click Map Places for Selected Individuals. Now if you want to, as a preference, whenever you do that, it can open another instance of the map window, but by default it will add the markers to the same map window that you already have open. That's an option in Preferences. So what's happened here is a new marker set has been created. We had one marker set that we already had created, which was Harold's ancestors' births. A new one has been created, simply called Selected Individuals, which has added all of Helen's ancestors. Let's just rename that to make it a bit more meaningful. Helen's ancestors' births. And if we want to, we can change the marker associated with this marker set, so I'll do that. And we said we were only interested in births because at the moment, again, it's showing all events in the lives of these individuals. So I'll untick everything and then retick birth. Helen's markers are appearing in front of Harold's markers, but we can swap them round if we want to. To do that, click on the Set Tasks button, then rearrange, then move set to bottom. If I zoom in over here, for example, I picked a different shape of marker for Helen's ancestors compared to Harold's ancestors, because if I'd used exactly the same shape, then if they had a marker in exactly the same place, one marker would completely hide the other. But because they are different shapes, you can see both even if they're at the same place. Let's zoom back again. Now another nice thing you can do is enable the time slider, which is this button up here, and if I click that, the time slider appears at the bottom. When the time slider is enabled, all marks are hidden, except marks for events that fall within the period specified by the time slider. You can click and drag to move the time slider to watch changes over time. You can also click and drag on the endpoints of the time slider to extend or shorten the length of the period it covers.